In the ancient city of Cyprus around 300 BC, there resided a highly affluent merchant named Zeno. While he was on a journey from Phoenicia to Piraeus, his ship sank, taking all his valuable cargo down with it. This unforeseeable event, entirely beyond Zeno's or anyone else's control, swiftly transformed this wealthy man into a pauper in an instant. Imagine yourself in Zeno's shoes. How would you respond when your entire life's work is obliterated by the relentless forces of nature? What would be the appropriate reaction? Would you feel anger, sadness, or a sense of injustice? For most of us, these emotions would be the natural response, but not for Zeno, the originator of Stoicism. A small alteration in circumstances can have lasting consequences, and a slight shift in your mindset can lead to more significant and profound changes in the future. At the heart of Stoicism lies the concept of acceptance and emotional detachment. After studying the works of Socrates and other renowned philosophers, Zeno developed and disseminated the philosophy of Stoicism. According to Zeno, while we may have limited control over external events, we do possess the power to determine how those events affect us, and we should employ this power effectively. Instead of lamenting over spilled milk, or in this case lost goods, Zeno concentrated on maintaining his composure, remaining composed and emotionally detached despite his dire circumstances. Today, Stoics are often seen as individuals who are unbreakable, individuals who do not succumb to emotional extremes, such as fits of anger or bouts of anxiety. However, the original concept of Stoicism was far more profound. It was not merely a label for emotionally detached individuals. Rather, it offered a unique perspective on the world, a way of life that has endured for centuries. Stoic philosophy remains applicable to contemporary situations, just as it was thousands of years ago, and its benefits are equally significant. Stoicism enables us to process the negative emotions arising from adverse experiences and transform them into thoughts that provide us with a distinct view of the world. Perspective is paramount, and every individual in the world possesses different life experiences, resulting in varying perspectives on matters. Since the Stoics openly engaged in philosophical discussions and teachings in public spaces, their philosophy became widely known and appreciated. Before we move on, I'd like to express my gratitude to each one of you for joining us. Seeking knowledge and leaving ignorance behind is one of the most commendable pursuits a human can undertake, and you've chosen this path. I kindly invite you to ensure that you are subscribed to our channel. And if you find value in this content, please consider giving the video a thumbs up. Your support is greatly appreciated. The Stoics firmly believed that their principles could be immensely beneficial to anyone and everyone, and thus they saw no reason to confine this wisdom within the confines of academic institutions or palace courtyards. Consequently, individuals from all walks of life, ranging from slaves to emperors, had the opportunity to learn and embrace Stoicism, and many did just that. Among the most renowned Stoics in history are figures like Epictetus, who earned his name, meaning acquired, due to his past as a slave, Seneca, a highly regarded statesman, and Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who ranks among the most influential individuals in history. The early Stoics practiced what they preached by shunning all forms of discrimination and actively championing the battle against inequality. They even coined the term cosmopolitan, which literally translates to citizen of the world. Today, when we hear this word, we often think of cosmopolitan cities like New York, Toronto, Dubai, and London due to their incredible diversity. This type of unity and inclusiveness was precisely the message that the Stoics espoused. During the foundation of Stoicism, women were typically not permitted to engage in philosophy, but the Stoics vehemently disagreed with this notion. Musonius Rufus, Epictetus's teacher, once asserted, "It is not men alone who possess eagerness and a natural inclination towards virtue, but women also. Women are pleased no less than men by noble and just deeds, and reject the opposite of such actions. Since that is so, why is it appropriate for men to seek out and examine how they might live well? In other words, to practice philosophy, but not women." Even during an era when it was unpopular, women were encouraged to freely explore Stoicism and adopt it as a way of life. So, why do so many people embrace Stoicism as a guiding philosophy? In a world filled with unforeseen twists and turns, our emotions often hinder our ability to navigate challenges effectively. In truth, our emotional responses are not primarily triggered by unfortunate events themselves, but rather by unexpected adversities. Rain, for instance, is generally beneficial as it nourishes our crops, provides water for animals, and maintains a pleasant climate. However, when caught in the rain without an umbrella, it can be an unpleasant experience. Yet we don't burst into tears when it starts to rain because we have come to expect it. Rain is an inevitable, uncontrollable occurrence, and even though it may be inconvenient, we know that it will eventually pass and the sun will shine again. Stoicism imparts the valuable lesson that we should anticipate that everything negative that can occur eventually will. Visualize the worst possible outcome and find contentment in the knowledge that it is a possibility. One of the exercises in Stoicism is termed voluntary discomfort. This exercise aims to boost feelings of gratitude. It involves deliberately subjecting oneself to discomfort, such as sleeping on the kitchen floor, taking cold showers instead of hot ones, or eating only potatoes for a few days. This exercise serves to demonstrate that, regardless of how challenging life becomes, you can not only endure it, but potentially thrive if your mindset is appropriately aligned. By learning to endure uncomfortable situations, we indirectly fortify our mental resilience for future adversities. In today's world, where advertisements incessantly bombard us with messages that suggest we can only find happiness by possessing the latest trends, conforming to certain appearances, or achieving a specific income level, this Stoic message is more relevant than ever. We come into this world with limited knowledge. We accumulate knowledge from various sources, our families, schools, and our own observations of the world. However, these sources of knowledge often impart different lessons. The question arises, must we internalize all this knowledge? If we do, we might unintentionally set unrealistic expectations for our lives, ultimately leading to disappointment and dissatisfaction. Such a way of living is not conducive to our well-being. Instead, we should focus on self-improvement for our own sake and engage in actions purely for personal reasons. Attaching external hopes or secondary desires to our actions frequently leads to disillusionment. Often we try to fill the void with external possessions, whether it's splurging on a fancy car, buying a house, or starting a family. Sometimes we pursue these things solely for their external value, overlooking their internal significance. Stoicism teaches us that by living life this way, we place our happiness in the hands of external circumstances, which can inevitably disappoint. Cars may break down, natural disasters can devastate entire cities, and divorce rates continue to rise each year. Even seemingly free aspects of life come with a cost, the cost of both physical and mental space. As Seneca eloquently wrote, learning to live with less will create space in your life for the things that truly matter to you. Therefore, we must ground our happiness in our intrinsic value as human beings and not in the possessions we have or can acquire. We must make a conscious choice to maintain our composure, regardless of the curveballs that life throws our way. Ultimately, much of what we desire is beyond our control. However, we have complete control over how we respond to these circumstances. This fundamental concept is known as the dichotomy of control, which stands as one of the central tenets of Stoic philosophy. As Epictetus eloquently put it, the chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control, and which have to do with the choices I actually control. Stoicism teaches us to discern between what we can influence and what we cannot. Our sense of self-worth should not hinge on circumstances beyond our control, but rather on our actions and choices that we can govern. Striving for goals is commendable, but according to Stoic philosophy, becoming distraught when things don't go as planned is futile. For instance, creating YouTube videos may be less complex than being a Roman emperor, but it can still present its own set of challenges. From conceptualizing the idea to researching, scripting, filming, editing, and preparing the video for upload, everything leading up to the upload button is within your control. However, once you click upload, the fate of your video rests largely in the hands of the YouTube algorithm. Nevertheless, many people assess the success of their YouTube channels or Instagram accounts based on metrics like views, subscribers, or followers, factors that are, to a significant extent, beyond their control. Stoicism advises us to evaluate the success of our endeavors based on the effort we invest, rather than placing undue emphasis on external outcomes. It encourages us to trust the process. Embracing a minimalist lifestyle means liberating ourselves from the societal constraints we've imposed on ourselves. Consider a scenario where an individual has diligently worked at their job for the past 6 months and believes they deserve a promotion. They approach their boss with their performance report, but the boss neither grants the promotion nor offers an explanation. In response, the individual goes home feeling that they must be inadequate at their job. They fail to consider that perhaps the boss had a bad day, someone else was more qualified at that time, or the company was experiencing financial difficulties and couldn't afford the promotion. Despite not knowing the underlying reason, they are still upset. Stoicism encourages us to detach our self-worth from external circumstances and to exercise patience and acceptance of the uncertainties in life. If he had placed his value on the quality of his performance report and continued his efforts to earn the desired promotion, he could have found greater overall happiness. With the right perspective, his goal wouldn't have been diminished, but merely postponed. This reshaping of one's mindset is pivotal. A true Stoic does not measure success solely by financial gain, but finds solace in living a comfortable life without being overly concerned with material possessions. Stoicism is rooted in 4 key virtues: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. Wisdom involves the ability to distinguish between what is within our control and what is external, and the capacity to choose our responses to life's events. As Viktor Frankl aptly noted, between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. Courage can be summarized as persist and resist. Temperance, or moderation, emphasizes doing more with less, expressing more with fewer words. While individuals like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk compete for the top spots on Forbes' list of the wealthiest, Stoics advocate that true wealth lies in possessing what is necessary and knowing when one has enough. Justice stands as the most significant of these virtues, instructing that no one should harm another because we are all born to assist and benefit one another, not merely ourselves. Nelson Mandela, a renowned African leader, provides a powerful example. Despite facing life imprisonment during his fight against apartheid, upon his release, he chose not to seek vengeance against those involved in his incarceration or the oppressive regime. Mandela had immersed himself in the works of Marcus Aurelius during his time in prison, embracing the core values of Stoicism. Instead of calling for retribution, he urged his people to seek reconciliation and nation-building, emphasizing that the past was beyond their control and their focus should be on creating a better future. This exemplifies the Stoic way. In modern medicine, Stoic principles underpin therapeutic approaches like rational emotive behavioral therapy, REBT, and logotherapy. REBT assists patients in identifying negative thought patterns that may contribute to emotional and behavioral challenges. It encourages individuals to challenge these negative thoughts logically, replacing them with more constructive and healthier beliefs. Logotherapy, on the other hand, aligns with the Stoic notion that humans are driven by purpose. Even in the darkest circumstances, individuals can find meaning and happiness by discovering their life's purpose, though this is a process that requires mental rewiring. To address our pursuit of happiness, we must cultivate self-worth by redirecting our definition of value to things within our control. By avoiding fixation on matters beyond our control, we can lead happier and more fulfilling lives. Stoicism guides us through life's challenges, helping us navigate toward calmer and more peaceful waters. Even if our ship sinks and we face adversity, we can find solace in the Stoic way.